2, 1.
It's Jay, it's Stongo. We're here at River Spirit Casino at the Muskogee Art Market. And I found an old guy, an old Kiowa man, a veteran even, Warren Queton. Some of you guys might know him off of Reservation Dog, other movies he's been in. He's been all over Indian country, but he has a spooky story for you guys. And I'm gonna turn the time over to Mr. Queton.
Hi, my name is Warren Queton, a Kiowa, Seminole, and Cherokee. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, and now living here and around the Norman, Oklahoma area. But I grew up, spending summers in southwestern Oklahoma, out south between Carnegie and Mountain View, Oklahoma. And we have an area there that we all associate with. It's called Zoltone, and that means like the water there is got kind of an aroma. It smells like because it comes from a sulfur spring to the south. There's this group of mountains, slick hills we call them, and that's who we identify as it's Zoltone area. So several families, their allotments are located around there, and that's where my family grew up around. We grew up hunting and fishing as little kids, and squirrel hunting, deer hunting, fishing. Kind of just being together, my last name, Queton, comes from a captain, Esteban Queton. But down the road towards Zoltone, they have a family, their names is Queton, Red Queton. They're two different families. Everybody always thinks we're related, and we are, because we grew up together. There's these young boys, Red Queton and 3 sons, and they live about 2 miles south of Highway 9 off of Zoltone Road. A lot of people know where that is. And, when we were growing up, fishing on the creek at the base of the Zoltone Slick Hills, they said, don't go down there at night. It's not a good place. People had seen things down there. Well, we had a white man uncle, married our Aunt Anita, and he knew a lot of Indian ways. One time we caught him, and we were sitting at his house, or my cousins were sitting at the house. I wasn't there, but let me tell you how I heard it, because my cousins, this actually happened to them. They were sitting with our uncle, and I guess he was brewing in the back, and they were all just sitting around just listening to him talk, because he was a Vietnam veteran, seen a lot in his life. And him, my cousin Clarence, we call him Bobby, I won't say cousin, Bobby Clarence, and Bobby Horace, they were playing with our Octon Tina. I guess at some point they started telling ghost stories. My uncle Steve, he was the white man married to my aunt. He said, y'all want to go see a ghost? I'll show y'all a ghost. My cousins, they were all laughing around. He just ate all, just drunk, He said, thought he was BSing with them. So he said, y'all load up the pickup, I'll show y'all a ghost. And they were all just ready to go for a ride. But he drove them down south towards the Zoltone Mountain, and he parked that location. Everybody said, you don't go down there at night. He went down to this area. There used to be a sulfur resort down there. People would go there and soak in that sulfur water, for like therapeutic for joints, arthritis. People would do it. Well, it blew up back in the early 1900s, and it was a big old building, but it was totally destroyed in glass. Anyway, they went down there and they parked by the creek, and they were sitting there, and my uncle was still brewing. Drove them down there, and they were still brewing. At that time, they heard some cracking from the creek. There's these trees. Something like a big green light came out. And my brothers, they said it was like as big as a house. And there was trees rustling, but they weren't breaking. He said they were kind of like just being laid over. At the time they were parked on the dirt road, and there was a fence, and they were looking towards the west on the north side of the mountain by Zoltone Creek. And they said this being came out as big as a house, and it leaned over those trees and came right up to the fence to their truck where my uncle was standing there. And my brothers, they said they got down in fear, and my sister was older than they were, and they were Tina was trying to comfort them, and she made me get down on the floorboard. And Clarence said he looked at it though, and he goes, it was like he don't know what it was, but it had claws, and those claws were like bending the trees over, not breaking them, but just bending them over as they were going. He was moving towards the truck, and it came right up to the fence, and it stood there, this big light, this big green glowing light. And he goes, I looked at it, and all I could see was claws, and I got down on the floorboard, and Horace was crying hysterically. And I was crying, but I wasn't as bad as, I wasn't hysterical like my brother was because he was younger. And Tina was trying to console us. And he said, all of a sudden, our uncle Steve, he went up to it and started talking Kiowa to it. And he started saying, he always had sayings. And, he'd always say like, "Dayon, dayon, bone," or "I day your bone tie." It's good to see you. And he said, I remember Steve was talking Kiowa to it and asking it questions. Steve had been married to our aunt for a long time, so he picked that up. And he taught Kiowa to it. And then he started in English. And he was asking that being to stay on that side of the fence, that he didn't come here, with any harm. But he said that he kept on talking to it, and he talked in Kiowa and go back and forth, kind of code switch. And that being stood there for a good amount of time. Then after a while, my Uncle Steve kept talking to it. Then it backed up, and it turned around and it lit all those trees up, kind of like backtracking, back through the trees. And it went back, and I guess it receded back up in the hill, Zoltan, and it disappeared. It kind of just faded into. But that was what happened. It happened. My brothers are a couple of years younger than me, and they still recall. And they'll never go down there. They don't go down there at night and sit because of what happened. And we believe, like that point, that Zoltan, there's probably some activity down there still goes on because people see things. People see lights. They see things walking. And so we've had it's a spooky situation. But I do believe that it was we don't know if it was an alien, a spirit, what, but it's pretty creepy when you go down there. You go down there, you still feel like something watching you. And it's quiet. And we hunt out there, but we don't go on that side because we don't get caught after dark. So that's a story from Zoltan. And in Kiowa we say a komto is a ghost. So we don't go down there anymore because we don't want the komtos to come and find us. But my uncle, he always talked about that. He goes, he said that was a scary situation. I taught Kiowa to it because I didn't know if he understood Kiowa English. I was throwing everything at him, and he stayed on that side of the fence. He goes, but to me, he said, I pissed my pants and was worried about what was going to happen to us, and thankfully, we made it. So that's a true story from Zoltan.
Oh, got a quick question for you. I know you speak Kiowa. This is for native audiences. How do you say good one?
A good one? Oh, get
Say it one more time.
Get it's good. Get You can just say it's good. All right.
Whatever he's saying, that's good.
I
So we're gonna say Mado.